Right, Maura, it's great to have you on the podcast today. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad to be here. I enjoyed talking with you before, and of course, I'm a bit of an Anglophile, so any opportunity to hear the accent, I'm in.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, no, I'm really happy to have you on, and I connected with you before and we had a really good chat. And I just kind of thought I'd introduce you and start off by saying that you're a uh, kind of neuro facilitator practitioner. Is that right?
That's right.
And you primarily help coaches, kind of gain clients, and you're very much into personal development, and you've been in consultancy, and you used to be a firefighter as well. So you've got like a lot of experience. And how did you kind of get into all of this, and what's it about?
Well, when I was after I was a firefighter, because it was that was a little bit of me seeking external validation. I mean, P.S. It was a very cool job, and I got to do some very cool stuff. So
Mm,
um, the 16-week academy at altitude in Boulder, Colorado in the dead of summer was one of the most glorious, challenging things I've ever done. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have had, been able to work at that level, very competitive level. And so that was an extremely cool job and a unique opportunity to work in a male dominated field and sort of be like let in behind the curtain. The men did not hold back. Like they talked about everything as if I was one of the men. They didn't treat me differently necessarily, most of them. So I felt like I got a really keen insight into the male psyche. They let their guard down, so I was able to just observe, and it was very enlightening. It provided me with a lot of insight, and it also provided me with a lot of insight about myself, because, and I didn't know this at the time, that particular reality was a reflection of my need to be right. Because in the end, when you have fire, there's only one answer: put water on it. It's really simple, just like black and white, chaos, calm. So that was very that was very satisfying at the time. But it also showed me that I was seeking external validation. I felt so unworthy as a person that the only way I could feel good about myself is if I got a job like a hero. I wanted to be a hero, and I didn't know how else to do it. And I felt like firefighting was the way to go. So eventually, I came to realize it really wasn't my jam. They weren't really my people, so to speak. And I had worked in the mind body field for a long time. I was a teacher trainer. I used to certify teachers in this very complicated methodology called yoga tune up. The name is very catchy and cute, but the work was very complicated. It's very anatomy based. So I got into teaching trainers, or teaching teachers, certifying teachers in embodied anatomy, and recognized that I had a unique facility to teach teachers how to teach. And it's my favorite place to be. It's very soul satisfying for me to help teachers teach and to help them build their students programs and all these things. So I had been doing kind of coaching coaches for a very long time without recognizing that it was a thing, that you could actually just be a coach. And through my life, through all of my experiences and having cancer, I opened the door for cancer in my own body. I say it like that because that's how it happened. 98% of disease on this planet experienced by humans is generated by stress. We're doing it. So I recognized I opened the door, right? I didn't invite it, but I also made an opportunity for that disease to thrive in me. And it was because I wasn't listening to myself. I was suppressing my anger, and I wasn't heeding my soul truth. And once I recognized what needed to happen, and I let go of everything, I let go of my marriage and focused completely on what is my soul trying to tell me? What is my truth? I'm not doing anything unless it's truth. And I'm only speaking truth. And then I'm going to let the dominoes fall. I don't care anymore. It's funny. Once you get cancer or anything that threatens your life, you don't have any more F's to give. I don't, we didn't talk about profanity before we got on the show, so I'm just going to keep it clean. But I'm like, nope, I'm done. Um, I,
Yeah.
I I want my life to be based in truth, and I want everyone around me to be in my life deliberately because they love my truth. That's it. And if I'm alone, I will be completely content and blissful being alone in my truth. If that's what it means on this planet, I'm completely down. So that commitment to my authentic expression completely shifted my life. And I had learned, because of the work I did in the mind body space, I was already a neural facilitator. I was very experienced in helping people change their thought patterns and create new neural pathways, which would create new beliefs, which actually change people's lives. So I help people change their life. I facilitate that by helping them build new neural pathways and give them feedback to help them recognize when the old habits starting to prune off. So that's how I work. And I recognized after about a year, like my business went gangbusters, which is a complete miracle. I mean, seriously, it is a modern day miracle. I've never had a Facebook ad work. I don't know how to, like, I suck at networking. I don't know how to market. And yet somehow I had a 6-figure business right out of the gate. I don't know how. Well, actually, I do know how. When people ask me, oh, what was your marketing? I'm like, grace of God. What's your marketing?
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it continues to happen. When I say God, I mean universal consciousness that I'm embodying. Okay. I want to be clear about that. It doesn't matter how you define it. We are all universal consciousness. So a year out, I had my 6-figure income, and I'm developing all these amazing, robust tools to help my clients, some of whom are coaches, but most are individuals. And I am not cheap. I want to be clear. It's 5 figures to work with me, and people were showing up to do this, and I was just
Yeah.
like, "Wow, this is so cool." And eventually, I recognized this work is really working, and I'm here on this planet to help people awaken to their power. That's it. That's all. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what your beliefs are. You're here to be powerful in a very soulful way, thus my company, Soulful Leader. And I recognized, all right, so if I help, like, how can I do the most good? These are the questions I ask myself. How can I do more good with my life? I don't know how long I've got. How can I maximize my potential for doing good on this planet while I have this body? And I thought, well, I can help people. This is good. I can help maybe 1,000 people a year. That's awesome. But if I can help 1,000 transformational coaches who do what I do, who are also here to awaken people to their greatness, to help them fall in love with themselves, to feel worthy to receive love, these are the kind of people who are going to be better stewards for our planet. End of story. Because when you feel worthy, you are not greedy. When you feel worthy of love, you yourself can only love. You're not going to abuse people. That's it. Worthy people, worthy, healthy people don't abuse themselves. They don't abuse other people, and they don't abuse the planet that's taking care of them. So that's basically what I'm helping people help people do. And I thought, all right, well, if I can take this program that's working really, really well, and I can help 1,000 coaches, and each one of them helps 1,000 people, I've just 1,000 x'd my influence on this planet. And essentially, I'm not using, coaches become my force multipliers for good, you see. So I'm a kind of a practical mystic. It just made complete sense to me to work with coaches. So that is my jam. And plus I have that unique facility to help coaches help people when
Mm.
they come in. So I have a program right now that is, it's called Effortless Enrollment.
Mm.
And I'm so excited about it. I don't do sales, never done sales. I've been in coaching programs the entire time, and they all have sales scripts.
Mm.
I didn't like them. That did not work for me. And because I work with people's souls, like, people, they unfold their lives for me, their pain and their trauma. I
Mm.
didn't feel right doing a sales script with them. I just literally threw it out the window. And I tell people when I do I offer a free class, because even if I'm not their coach, I want them to be better for having come in contact with me, right? So I build these really robust classes with the intention of having people take the tools and run with them. And towards the end of the class, I'm like, listen, I hope you can take this and I hope it improves your life and helps you love yourself more. If you feel like you need help, here's a program that I have that might help you, right? So I don't sell it. I just tell them about it and I tell them the price and they either want it or they don't. And I tell them,
Mm.
look, I don't do sales calls. I'm not interested in convincing you. You're either ready to change and you know this is going to work. Like, here's my million testimonials, or you're not ready. And that's completely correct. Like not everybody's ready to take that red pill. And I never ever want to, I'm never going to shove that pill down anybody's throat. Like you got to be ready for the work. Otherwise it's not going to work. So
Mm.
that's been my journey, and watching the changes happen in these coaches just by, I'm not even coaching them. It's an evergreen course. Listening to the feedback I'm getting, the testimonials. I just had a guy tell me he went through my effortless enrollment course. It was just a 7-day boot camp. It wasn't even the full course. And he's like, I used to charge $500 and I was really struggling. And within 4 days, he got his first $4,000 client. I was just like, that's what it's for.
Oh,
Thank you for
wow.
applying the work. Like, I'm like, and I'm keeping the price point super low because my whole thing is you should be able to pay for this course in one client or less, like half a client. If you can't pay for this course in one client, you need to be charging more. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
charge more. Come on. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Thank you for allowing me to give you, that was not exactly the cliff notes. That was kind of like the unabridged version. So thank you for patiently listening, being so generous. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, you're welcome. It's I think you've got, you're doing like really great work, and like your story and where you've kind of been and come from, it's really powerful. And I think, like you said at the beginning, you kind of wanted to be like a hero, but you kind of didn't really know where to place it, and you're doing firefighting work, which is pretty robust. I mean, like the nature of the job when you think about it. But you think like, your ethics and your morals and what you wanted to do is there, in place. And it's just trying to like find that click where to put it. You got into you had your difficulties with cancer and you came through that. And by understanding like, your stresses and what you need, what you didn't need in your life, you was able to address that, and to really look at it. And it's a powerful bit of self-awareness there. And I think like you said, sometimes things happen to people and it wakes them up. And sometimes things like that shouldn't happen, but sometimes they do. And sometimes it's that clarity point, isn't it? People to readdress their life and what's going on. And you're able, in what you're doing now, to help other people, and to help other people as well, if that makes sense. And you're not it's not like a script where you're selling it. It's here it is, you can have it, here's a 7-day trial or whatever, and you can take it and see what you think and go from there. And I think it's a really nice approach to that, to doing it like that, because it's not forceful. It's hey, try this out. If it works, then you can go for this. And I think you're doing really great work, and I think it must be rewarding as well, seeing people grow and develop through doing your course, and for them to attain results as well.
Absolutely. I, the only, listen, like if I could, I would love to be able to do this work for free, but there's a thing about this. Well, number one, I value myself and my time, and all my experiences allowed me to become the kind of practitioner that I can actually help people make permanent and lasting change in their lives. That is very valuable. So like, I understand my value. The thing that people like me struggle with is this notion that you have to have a certain amount of money to be able to liberate yourself emotionally. And that's where the guilt and a little bit of shame comes in for people like me who facilitate healing. I don't heal people. I'm a healer of myself, but I can't heal anybody else. I can only help them facilitate their own healing, right? So what I tell people, this is about the money piece. If people aren't just a tiny bit afraid, excited and afraid, like that's the perfect storm of feelings that create the results. I have an extremely high success rate because I usually, anyone who works with me personally, they have to come through me. I want every single person to be successful. The only thing I care about is their results. So the money is to make sure they are as serious about the results as I am, because I show up and help them make it happen. And I know how valuable that is, having hired my own coaches and paid as much as I cost my time, I pay them. And I'm so grateful that I'm in contact with people who could help me facilitate my own quantum leaps. I know how valuable that is. And I know that if I didn't put that money in, I might not show up for myself. I mean, okay, I know this about myself, Adam. I would. That's the kind of person I am, just because I would. But most people, they need a tiny bit of pressure because it gets uncomfortable, and they need to have stretched themselves a little bit financially. And the ones that don't stretch themselves financially, those are the ones who are likely to walk away from the program when it gets uncomfortable. And that's the only reason I don't have 100% success rate, is the handful of people who had so much money that 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 wasn't a big deal to them. So they started to get changes, and they're like, oh my God, their self-image changed because they didn't realize who they really were once we started peeling the layers away, and they got embarrassed and literally walked away from a 5-figure investment. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's natural. Come on, there's no judgment. Nobody cares. And I understand it's difficult. You can do it. This is part of it. This is progress. This is what you've been waiting for. This is the stuff you haven't been able to get through for 4 decades. You're there. Let's do it. And their egos just take over. And I'm like, oh, you're so close. But what that means is it's not time for them. That's as much as they were able to tolerate at the time. And as far as we got was very good. But I'll tell you, if people have a story that they cannot be helped, they will make sure, no matter what, that story remains true. Even when they start to get change, they're more attached to the story that they can't be helped than actually recovering their peace and their power.
Yeah, no, it's quite powerful, isn't it, when you think about, people's self-image and, the thoughts and beliefs that they have about themselves, and they can go on to, you like your course and, many other courses, and, like in life, once you go, you have to, like you said, you have to be willing to be open to go into stuff and to work on things and get uncomfortable and be vulnerable and to do the work, to progress and to change and shift. And it's like you said, it's not their time yet, but if they're attached to a belief system that they're not, I don't know, like you said, like, it's not their, if they're attached to their story, then that's always going to be true, like you said. And it might take another 5 or 10 years for them to, you just don't know. And
right.
It's, I mean, but as you said, you have to go through those motions if you want to change and shift and grow. And they, through growing, may be able to gain a new client or to help someone else, So you've got to go through that pain, haven't you, and that discomfort to get to the other side.
That's exactly right. I call it the fire of transformation, because it burns away everything you don't need anymore. And it feels like you're dying a little bit. The French call it le petit mort. It's the little death, right? Oh, So that little death is absolutely critical. And it does feel like a part of you is dying. And it is. It's pulling away. It's exactly what you want. But people they don't recognize, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to mourn the way I used to see myself. Like, there's a whole grieving process occasionally that accompanies letting go of the ego. I actually had there's a tool. I don't remember if I actually recorded this tool for my mastermind, but I have a tool. It's a ceremony. You actually have a funeral for the old version of yourself. It is a very powerful tool. It's crazy town. Like, it's big time. And people are like, you what now? I'm like, we're going to go to a funeral together. Like, get ready. And people are like, they don't even know that these possibilities exist. But this is how the grace of God marketing works. Like, you have to be able to let go and get into a state of allowing so that everything that you're asking for can find you. And this is the thing I tell my coaches, there are thousands of people that are waiting for you to let go of the thing that's holding you back, which by the way is you. It's always the coaches in their own way. I'm like, all of your people are waiting for you to get out of your way so that you can show up for them the way they need you. They're waiting for you. And once they recognize, oh, because before I tell them that, before I suggest that this is a possibility for them, they have this thing like, it's all darkness. They don't know how they're going to find their people. It's all like externally motivated. And I tell them, you've got it backwards. Your people are already out there looking for relief. And they're this is why I don't believe in competition at all. I will help anybody. I always do. And I refer my people who come to me who aren't a good fit for my program. I'm always looking for other coaches to send them to. I like, all right. So if I can make a really comfortable living and maybe, and my needs are met and I can send my daughter to college and leave her with a financial legacy, who gives a crap if I'm giving away a $25,000 client? My life is fine. How much money do you need is my question. See, this is what worthiness does. Like, how much money do I need? As much as I want. And when I have what I want, I'm giving the rest away. I have no need. I'm not trying to prove my worth by showing how much money I have or by conspicuously consuming. Hey, if that's where people are in their journey, that's where they are. They need to go through that, right? Everything that I do there's no resistance in it. Like, if that's where you're at, awesome. And maybe you'll come to understand that there is another place where that's much more satisfying than relying on external things for validation, because those things can go away, right? So, yeah, I really love helping coaches pivot and recognize the moment they get out of their way, because they're pinching themselves off from the people who are looking for them. And like, where are you in your coaching?
Me right now?
Yeah, where are you in your coaching?
Yeah, I'm basically trying to find my niche still, and that's where I'm at.
Okay, so this, and I'm so glad, because I couldn't remember exactly where you were. And this is so your niche is a key, a very particular key for a very particular lock, and all of your clients will have a lock that fits your key. It's very specific to you and your energy and your hero's journey. This is why I don't believe in competition, because there's plenty of people who need coaching, and there's a certain, like, a lifetime of success just for you and your unique story and your unique energy. And the people that you appeal to, they're going to find you once you land on it, right? So when I help them understand, listen, you don't want to appeal to everybody. That's what a niche is for, right? I appeal to people who understand quantum physics, who like Dr. Joe Dispenza, who embrace the law of attraction and want to work with it. Those are my people. I know this. And when they find me, they are so relieved. Like, finally, somebody can help me do this. That is the feeling that your people are going to have when they find you, once you figure out who you are and who you want to help, right? So if there's someone for everybody, there's an entire career waiting for you. There's an entire lifestyle waiting for you once you get out of your own way, or for you once you discover who you're passionate about helping. So the reason I wanted to bring this up so specifically is, like, it's just like two keys that it's a little perfect fit, and it's a partnership. And I tell my coaches, like, these are partners. These are your client partners. They're not prospects. They're client partners. And when you're able to recognize, like, which kind of humans who do I want to help? Like, what am I really awesome at doing? Then suddenly the people just start to show up. It is, again, Grace of God Marketing. That should be the name of my program. For people who are, listen, I wouldn't want to put off atheists, because I'm like, I work with atheists too. Like, you just need to believe in something that is bigger
Mm,
than you, whatever you call it, right? We all have a wisdom within us.
mm.
So yeah, there's no competition. There's
Yeah.
no, I don't believe in scarcity.
No, that's it. I think, like you said, your people will find you and your clients will find you when you kind of tap into that and you put it out there. And like, with the competition side of it, I mean, there's millions of people on the planet, and lots of people who are, suffering with their own thing and having their own thing going on. You'll attract them, like you said, when you tap into that field. And it reminds me of like my kind of podcast. And sometimes people will reach out to me and say, "Oh, I have someone in mind who would be good for the podcast," because it's in self improvement. It's in that kind of, I found my thing with it, if that makes sense. And like you said,
Hmm.
sometimes people just come to me without me having to do that work. So it's true, isn't it? Like, I mean, that's one example. But with coaching, like when you tap into your niche, your area, you'll gravitate. Those people will gravitate towards you, and you'll kind of know, I suppose. And you know, do you find that sometimes people, like you said, go into coaching and that they're kind of in the place that I'm in, if that makes sense, and you see them, through doing what you're doing, your courses, kind of realize, where they need to work.
Sorry, can you repeat that question? I want to make sure I answer it with
Yeah.
specific
So if like
specificity.
people might be in my shoes
Yeah.
and they're coaches
Yeah.
and they don't really know their field and they can do your course and kind of
Yes.
gain more clarity on that.
Absolutely. In fact, I have in my first cohort of mastermind effortless enrollment coaches, 3 of them came together from another mastermind, from a training. They had just done like 6 months and none of them were happy with their niche because their niche, the way that and I want to be clear, I'm not the
Yeah.
burning bush. I'm just unconventional. I just see things from a little bit of a different way. And I have a very unconventional way of helping people identify who their people are. So within effortless enrollment, I say there's this dance. As you're building your program, there's a time where you need to be focused on you and your desires. And then there's a time where you're focused 100% on your potential client partners. And here's the trick that, or I should say, here's a secret that most coaches don't realize. 100% of your business comes from whatever's going on inside you. If you have a block because you think that you're not going to, you have a fear, it's blocking you. So if you feel like, oh, nobody's finding me, you've got your stories or your limiting stories, you're sabotaging, your business will be a reflection of those stories. So that's number one. Whatever's within you is going to be expressed without. So if you're finding that you're struggling, that's actually awesome feedback. That tells you that there's something going on with you, an internal struggle that is being reflected back to you by the reality you're creating. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, who your clients are, the way I help my people define them. I'm giving away the gold here, by the way. This is straight up out of my program. I walk people through a module called Your Value. And in that, I help people identify their hero's journey. It is my hero's journey. This is why I don't believe in competition. This is the heart of it right here. My unique story has created a unique signature that I have and a unique resolution that I'm able to give people consistently. And the people who resonate, they vibe with me. Those people get results so fast because we are meeting at the same frequency. Whatever your hero's journey is, it informs your frequency, it informs your vibe, and the people who resonate with that, because your hero's journey is how you learned how to figure things out, how you learned how to make resolve pain, how you learned how to do XYZ. The hero's journey is your path to freedom. That is your vibe. I help people get so clear on their hero's journey, the vibe, the broadcast, the frequency, and how to use that story, how to let's just I don't like the word use, not a good word, how to leverage that experience and everything you learned to attract the people who are going to get massive change with you. Do you see how it's all about you? It's all about you, man. It's all about you and what you've done. And this is
Mm,
why it happens, this particular exercise happens in the module about your value. Because a lot of coaches, listen, coaches don't show up by accident. We are wounded healers. I meet very few people who would not identify with what wounded healer means. Okay. And it's because you've walked the road that you're able to provide relief for so many people. So this is how I put it. Here's the difference between coaches and individuals. An individual can heal themselves. They can read the self-help book, they can apply it, and then they go on with on their merry way. So they've basically, I like to think of like personal wounds and trauma as like a jungle, and healing it, you're like going through the jungle with a machete. You're creating a new pathway of health, happiness, and freedom, right? So an individual will go through the jungle with a machete and just keep walking through the jungle, clearing their path. A coach walks through that same jungle with a machete and a light and says, follow me. I know the way, and I'm going to help you do this. And you guide
mm.
them. That's why one of my coaches or one of my clients calls me the spiritual Sherpa. I didn't give myself that name. He did. And I thought it was very funny. So I stuck with it. That's what coaches do. That's the difference. Individuals don't know how to teach people how to do what they do, but coaches can. It's a very unique facility. So I help people identify their hero's journey and how to leverage it. There's very specific ways to leverage it in order to attract the clients. The mistake is trying to look for your people. So all the demographic stuff, that stuff really jams me up. I mean, if you want to make me cry, ask me what my people read and like ask me demographic questions about my market. I have no idea.
Mm,
I still make 6 figures in my first year. I still get people who are excited as hell to pay me 5 figures to work with them. I don't know anything about demographics. Zero.
mm,
I don't do marketing. Like, and I'm not suggesting that people do that because that's my journey. But my point is, I think sometimes we get lost in the process and forget to really focus on what we want and what we love to do. What we love to do. That is going to build your business. Focusing on what you love to do. Now, there are
mm,
things that you need to have process mastery, as Sean Callaghan calls it. Process is important. There's a structure, and everybody's different. And I do have a marketing module in my course. I call it servant leader marketing. It's a very different way. Listen, it's all about energy. It's all about what you're putting out there. And if you're putting out fear and frustration because you feel like no one's going to find you, guess what you're going to get?
mm,
It's a boomerang. Every thought,
mm.
if you think of every thought, every emotion as a boomerang, just remember that. So when it comes back and hits you in your head and you're like, where the hell did this come from? It's about a week ago and you were pissed off because you got cut off in traffic.
Yeah,
Simple math.
yeah. No, yeah, it's definitely true, isn't it? And I think what you mentioned as well, with coaching and individuals and, like chopping through the forest, it's, like guiding that person, isn't it, to where they need to go, because otherwise, the person's going to continue. And, people need that other person sometimes just to help, guide them. And I think it's why, mentors or coaches, really effective because they, they see that they might see those blind spots that we don't always see all the time, and they can kind of push you into that direction you need to go in. And I think, like you said, with energy and marketing, and I think overall, like you said, everyone has their own approach, but I think sometimes people market in the wrong way, or they do it for the wrong reasons. They do it for their own needs and not being genuine, and it stands out when people are doing that, and you see it a lot of the time. And I think, as you said, just being genuine, doing what you love, and you attract the right people, and you put out the right content, people resonate. The right people will resonate with that.
100%. And I think it bears mentioning that there's a lot of ridiculously successful 7 and 8 figure coaches that are all about sales. Like they're just like, you need to get in people's DMs. You need to be calling every single person in your address book. And my thing is, if that works and you are just super excited about that, oh my God, do it. The only thing that matters is that you're excited. And I know people who they love sales. Oh my God, they love it. Their favorite thing is to like meet someone on the street and then be like taking credit card information. Like that is their jam. They're like, they
Yeah.
love to find people who they can help, and they love it when the person doesn't know they need help. And yeah, that's not my way.
Mm.
I like zero resistance and zero convincing, and people recognizing that they themselves want to do the work. So for me and the way I work, knowing how deep and fast I go, um, people really need to show up and be like, "Hey, do you have any more of those red pills?" Like that's my ideal client.
Mm.
That
Mm.
they have to.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm after, and because I'm excited about it, they come.
Yeah.
They come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And I think, like you said, people have their own approach, but I think, as long as you're doing, what you think is right and what you enjoy and love, I think that's where it's at. And I think, like, from when sometimes you can do course. I mean, when I did my coaching course, you do all the coaching, and I learned a lot, but they don't explain like the niche side of it and finding a niche and all of that afterwards. So these questions come up. And like you said, it's you find it and makes sense over time. And I was just thinking as well, like, do you have any like role models or mentors like now or kind of growing up as well?
I really love Marie Forleo.
Mm.
She's a coach. She's a personal development coach. I just love how real and no nonsense she is, and she's so practical. She's spiritual, but in a very practical way. She doesn't really. She's not as like I'm like first and foremost very spiritual, and she's just like a practical girl from New Jersey, and I just love how she handles her business. Uh, she's funny, she's relatable, and she's incredibly good at what she does. Just she's a scrappy, like she just knows how to get things done, and I'm very inspired by how tenacious and real she is. Like
Mm.
a lot, I feel like a lot of coaches can kind of get to this sort of guru vibe,
Yeah.
where people there's sort of a cult like following, and um she's not like that. She's like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it. I'm a big tools and practices person, and she breaks things down in a way that just make a lot of sense to me. So she's, I would say, definitely in the, I don't do things the way she does, but definitely I feel like she's a kind of not a mentor, but like, someone that
Mm.
that has really influenced me, and watching her helped me feel like, oh, I can do what I want to do.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
definitely her, yeah.
Yeah. No, she's a really great example, and her book's really good as well. And I was just come on to that. Like, do you have any favorite books or anything like that? You probably have a whole stack, but
Oh, I do. I do. The book that I think changed me the most, and I want to preface this with, if you are at a if you are at a particular level of self-awareness and self-inquiry, books will change you in a way that they won't if you're not.
mm,
Um, it's like, okay, all right, let me make this little analogy before I answer that question.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
Self-awareness is like watering the ground, like rain and sun on the ground. Like it's just the soil is ready. It's ready for whatever you're going to put into it to grow, right? You self-awareness makes the soil very rich. If you're not self-aware, if you're unconscious, it's like hard to pack, right? Like it's cracking. You can put water in it and it will literally bounce off. Okay. Are you with me?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. So if you have been doing a lot of work and you are very open to receiving the transference, the transmission, not transference, the transmission, the touch from the book. The following book I'm about to recommend will change your life. It will change the world. It's called Letting Go, and it's written by Dr. David Hawkins, who created the scale of consciousness is that what it's called? The consciousness.
Mm.
It's a calibration scale.
Yeah.
This man basically transcended. He bypassed, he figured it out, and was walking around as basically a bodhisattva, and decided to come back into society to write all his books, to teach, and then he disappeared again, if I have his story right. And it's not a mystical thing. I mean, we use the word mystical for stuff we don't understand. It
Mm.
was kind of like basic spiritual development and transcendence, and he did it. So the book Letting Go is one of my favorites, and you have to be ready for it. I wasn't ready for it about 5 years ago, but I was ready for it this year. And you know you're ready for it when you're reading it and you're getting upset and you're like, I hate this book and I love it. It's
Mm.
making me, it's compelling me to look at stuff that I had no idea was there. It basically, letting go, if you're ready for it, will pick up the log that has been sitting on the ground and show you everything underneath, and you're like, I didn't know that was there. And then you get into judgment. But then, because the book is called Letting Go, it helps you let go.
Mm.
It was a huge game changer for me.
Wow.
Dr. David Hawkins. And brace yourself. Brace yourself is all I have to say.
Yeah.
When people study with me privately, I curate a book selection for them. I buy them a book, or I'll send them an audio book. And so after I do the intake and I get a sense of where they are in their self-awareness, I send them a book, and usually the finale is letting go. It usually takes them 90 days to get to the point where they're ready for letting go. So I have my students be like, am I ready yet? I'm like, no, you need to read The Big Leap, or you need to read, Anita Moorjani's book, Dying to Be Me. You got to read that first. Like, there is a way I want to make sure their soil is receptive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really powerful. Gosh. And I really appreciate you sharing that and talking about, the book and your experience with it. I think that's one of the most in-depth explanations that anyone's ever had explaining the book on my podcast. But I really appreciate that, and I think it's really nice that you was able to relate to that in such a way, and to read it again as well, and to really tap into it. And it's a great point you made, with the soil and your self-awareness and yourself. And like you said, you can read a book and skim through it, but if you're not, if it's like a personal development book or something where you can look at yourself, if you're not really tuned into that, it's not going to be as effective, is it? You're just kind of reading it, and you're not self-aware or tap into that. But it's a really good book by the sounds of it, and I'll have to check it out. And
Absolutely. And get ready. Just
mm,
get ready
yeah,
is all. It's like Abraham, get ready to get ready, Adam. It is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. No, definitely. I'll have to read it, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it
Yes.
goes.
I want to know now.
Yeah. I've been on a timer for 90 days now.
That's right.
And yeah, I was just kind of to like as well round up, like what would you say, happiness is for you, like, or success in life?
I can tell you, happiness was very clear to me when I started living fearlessly, and the only thing that I cared about was being truthful with everybody, with everything. It was the moment I retired the phrase, I'm afraid if I don't XYZ, I'm afraid if I do. I retired that whole paradigm and decided to live my life in complete vulnerability, and not as an open wound like reality TV style, but in complete vulnerability. This is me. This is my
Mm.
life. This is what happened for me by my hand. When I recognized that I was the architect of my life, that I had created every single thing, every knee scrape, every bout with cancer, every relationship that was inappropriate. Once I recognized it was me that had done that, and I started living in my truth versus making decisions out of fear, I became so happy and completely stress-free, because I recognized the universe had my back.
Mm,
and actually the universe is me.
mm,
So it's like, oh, wow,
mm.
complete freedom, and happiness. And you said, what was the other thing? Happiness
Like
and
success, like
success.
success. Yeah.
Success to me is being able to get out of the way of the genius that wants to come through me. If
Mm,
I can successfully move my ego out of the way and allow myself to facilitate
mm,
the source, the guidance that I have, to me,
mm,
that's success. Um,
mm,
and actually, I want to say for me monetarily, because I'm on the path where I'm at the part of my path where second center energy of money is representative of the amount of value that I'm putting out in the world. So for
mm,
me, success is feeling like the amount of money that's coming back to me is equitable with the amount of, it's commensurate with the amount of value I feel I'm putting out in the world. That
mm.
feels like success to me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love that. And I think, it's different for each person, but I think like from what you mentioned, it's it's that natural, that natural ability to put goodness out there and that goodness comes back and, to, kind of get out your own way, isn't it, as well, and to help other people do the same. And yeah, I was just thinking like where can people find you on social media as well and like website and that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. So my Instagram is at soulfulleader.com. And every Wednesday, like today, in just a matter of hours, I'm going to
Mm,
do my Instagram live show called the Free Lunch Live with Maura Barclay. And the first person to drop a question in the chat gets intuitive reflection from me. So intuitive coaching coming at you. And it's the only place that I really do that. So if you want coaching, don't miss it. It's
mm.
12:30 p.m. PST. So that's not too bad in your time across the pond there.
Yeah.
And also soulfulleader.com forward
Mm,
slash effortless. I have a free gift for coaches. If you go to Soulful Leader and it's one L, SOUL, SOULFULEADER. There's only one L there. It's a word smash. Soulfulleader.com forward slash effortless. I will walk you through the masterclass I used to make 40 grand that earned me $40,000 in 1 week. And
mm,
I didn't sell. I didn't have to sell. My masterclass did it for me. So I call it a pre-enrollment masterclass
mm.
framework. And I walk you through. It's a 90-minute training for free. Go get it and let me know if I can help you
Yeah. No,
beyond that.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really, really, grateful to have you on the podcast, and I really, commend you for the work that you're doing, and I'm really grateful, to be able to do this with you, and I wish you, continued success in what you're doing.
Thank you. And you. I'm so excited to see where you are in 6 months
Yeah,
with your coaching business. Like
yeah,
who your people are waiting for you. I can't wait to
yeah,
hear who they are.
yeah. No, I really, really appreciate it, and I'll definitely stay in touch, and I'll keep you updated with all that's going on. But
That's right. And I just want to say,
yeah,
uh, you're welcome when you start reading Letting Go. I'm just going to say,
yeah,
I'm going to say, I'm sorry and you're welcome. Sorry about
yeah,
that and you're welcome.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to send you an email like every 30 days and let you know how it's cracking on.
That's right. Yeah. Let me know.
Yeah, no, I will. But no, it's a pleasure talking to you, and have a great day, more.
Thank you for having me on the show, Adam. I so
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. You're welcome. Take care.